All right, it's a new day. We have a new coloring book. So I think it would be fun to color the "This Book Belongs To" page. I absolutely love coloring trees, and this one just absolutely speaks to me. It's so intricate. It's got so many little creatures and mushrooms and little kind of architectural features kind of hidden in some of these little nooks and crannies in here. There's even some like mushrooms that are kind of growing out of the tree. I think this one will be really fun to color. It's tedious. It's definitely going to take a little bit of time, and of course it's a double spread because why wouldn't it be? But I'm excited. I think this is the next one we're going to tackle. So let's get started. So the first thing that we want to think about before we even put a single pencil to the page is color scheme. So do I want to go very traditional or do I want to go a little bit whimsical? Now, the name of the game with Kerby Rosanes is whimsy. So I might want to go a little bit whimsical. And whether that's the entire page or maybe some of the creatures, but I keep some other elements kind of traditional. I'm not quite sure yet, but it's definitely something to consider. So I'm going to pull out some of my color charts here, and I'm just going to sort of see like what's speaking to me today. And I think the first thing that I want to decide on is probably the tree. The tree is a very prominent part of this page, and it's going to influence everything else. So I don't want to do something with the tree and then, kind of have that in conflict with the rest. So because the tree is such a big part, let's kind of decide what to do there first. I'm kind of drawn to maybe some of these greens here, like have the trunk of the tree be green instead of brown. That's a little bit of a nod to kind of traditional, but just a little bit of a twist on it. Like maybe these down here with our Faber-Castells. I kind of like that approach. Maybe we'll kind of start there and then maybe just kind of see how it's looking, see how we're feeling, and we'll just kind of go and see. All right, so we're just going to sort of jump in on the tree here, and I'm just going to use this very kind of earthy, kind of mossy green on probably a good deal of the trunk. You guys know kind of my approach. I like to do like a foundational layer of one of my lightest colors, and then I kind of go back over that with some of my darker colors. I'll get into some of these little nooks and these crannies, and we'll just kind of see how it goes. All right, that took quite a bit of time, and you actually have to be very careful as you're coloring this because some of this is sort of very interwoven with some of the other things. Like I almost accidentally colored the snail because it just sort of blended in. So you can't just kind of color this willy-nilly, you have to take your time. So now I'm going to go in with juniper green, and I'm going to do the same thing but the opposite. I'm going to start to just sort of take some of these lines that the artist gave us, and I'm just going to start to shade these in. And I'm going to do a little bit of like a two-step process. So I'm going to do some green and I'm going to do some brown. And actually, you know what? I might do that at the same time here. So I'm going to use the juniper green and the walnut brown. And I'm just going to I'm going to do the dark green, and then I'm going to follow back in just a little bit with the brown. And I want to be able to see both. You see how I kind of just did like a little bit of like a gradient there? And you can even go back in and go over them if you want. Just like that. And I like the idea of doing this at the same time just because I tend to be a little bit more deliberate and a little bit more intentional when I'm focusing on a small area with color instead of kind of doing the whole thing and then the whole thing. I don't know. I don't know if it takes longer. I don't know if it would come out the same anyway, but I feel like I'm being a little bit more intentional. And with the details, you definitely want to be intentional. See how these colors just kind of tend to give this a lot of depth. You can really tell that, the tree has a lot of ins and outs and little caverns here. These shadows are really going to make that much more apparent and really make this tree kind of come to life. See, so if you look at just that, I really like how that's coming out. It even looks a little kind of spooky forest. Well guys, I'm almost done with shading in my tree. This was super tedious, super tedious. Hours and hours. I'm wearing different clothes, so it's a different day. And I actually am really glad that I decided to shade kind of the entire small area at a time with both of my kind of secondary and third colors. And I think I got a much kind of more cohesive appearance, definitely a more detailed appearance rather than kind of going in the entire thing with just this green and then the entire thing with just the brown. That is definitely, I think, a little easier mentally, but at the same time, you kind of get to shut your brain off, and that does not bode well for detail work. You kind of want to think through some of the areas that, you want to put in a little bit of extra love, and you got to keep your brain on for that part. So I'm definitely very glad that I did that. It definitely took longer, but well worth it in the end. Now the big question. Did I get everything? I know in a couple of hours as I'm working through some of the other stuff, I'm going to notice a spot that I forgot to do. So I'm definitely going to keep these close at hand for any of those little spots as I see them. Now I think just to cap this off, I'm just going to blend just a little bit with a dry cotton swab. And just in my haste and with how long this took, there might just be some little white spots here, and this will just sort of fill some of those in. And thankfully, this won't take too long, at least in comparison to the other steps. All right, now that the tree is done, I think the next step we need to talk about is color scheme for the rest of it. There's so much on this page. I want to be very thoughtful in keeping the right color palette, and I think I do want to stick with my Faber-Castells. And in just kind of taking a look at my color chart, I think I want to do things in this range. These sort of peachy, kind of brownish reds, yellows, definitely the browns. And then I think I want to throw in some of these kind of darker reds as well. And maybe even some of these purples, maybe red, violet, and magenta. Maybe this madder color, just to kind of add a little bit of punch to a very earthy palette. I think that's what I'm going to go with. All right, we're going to start a little bit safe just to kind of test our palette. And I'm going to do some of this burnt ochre on our fox here. Let's see. I kind of want some of him to stay white, so I'm just going to... Yeah, okay. I'm trying to decide, is a fox's tail white here or white here? I think it's white at the edges, or at the end rather. And what's nice now is that with the trees kind of all being pretty much taken care of, I think we can just sort of focus on some of the fun stuff now. Sorry guys if you can hear some of the background noise. My family lives here. All right, this one is Sanguine. I think I'm saying that right. And this will add just a little bit of that warm, beautiful kind of reddish tone that are so nice on foxes. I did just kind of start with that foundational layer. So I'm just adding this right over top, just in certain areas, and then kind of leaving a little bit of that original color in some spots. And I'm not just following the lines that the artist gave us. I'm definitely creeping into some of the other areas as well, but I'm just kind of lightening up a little bit of my pressure there. And for the white, I'm just going to add a little bit of warm gray, just because it's never pure white, especially in some of the areas where it might be shaded a little bit. We'll just kind of darken that up with our gray. All right. I think I'm going to go back in with my original color, this burnt ochre. And I'm just going to help to kind of soften some of these lines here. Make these back legs a bit darker. All right. I like him. And the nice thing is that there are definitely some other animals on our page here that we can sort of mimic his color scheme on. So, you know, maybe we do this kind of same color scheme on the owl or on the bunny or this wolf over here, just to kind of balance it out and just make sure that we're kind of utilizing some of these color combos across the page. Now, I definitely want to go in and do some of these awesome like mushrooms that are kind of growing out of our trees. I purposely, and I just want to transition from that light green to the cream just so that it looks very natural. This is definitely one of the selling features for me on this page. I just think it's so cool how these mushrooms are kind of grown out of the tree. Now we'll take a little bit of burnt ochre and we're just going to use this on the underside of the mushrooms, just for a little bit of visual interest and some color variation. Just go right up underneath. All right, now for the inside of the mushroom, I think maybe we'll jump into these Pompeian reds. Let's see. And just for some interest, the inside will be this bright poppy Pompeian red. And you know what? I might even do, since we can't really see the inside of this one, I might do this kind of lighthouse structure here in this Pompeian red as well, just to kind of have it be, you know, maybe this is the end result of, you know, some of the earlier versions of the mushroom. And I'm not going in any particular order. I'm just kind of going towards some of the ones that speak to me. And this orangey kind of brown combo will definitely be prevalent on the page. And then I think we'll have quite a lot of opportunity to play with some of these more fun colors that we have picked out in some of the mushrooms and the leaves and some of these buildings. Now, I think is a good opportunity to maybe play with some fun color. So I don't know how this is going to look. We're going to find out together. But I'm going to do red violet. I really like the tone that this red violet is kind of given this. It's definitely still reading as brown, but it's just like a super warm kind of cognac looking brown. It's very, very cool. See, sometimes you know, just trying different color combos and stuff just kind of gives you a little bit of a surprise combo sometimes. So definitely worth trying some of these seemingly, you know, not logical color combos and just seeing what they give you. You know, I definitely have some favorite color combos in some of my other colored pencil brands, like ones that I specifically like to kind of put together. And I haven't really done that for my Faber-Castells. Maybe that's kind of a lost opportunity that I can revisit, because you know you're only going to have so many pencils in each of your sets, you know, and you can always get more sets. But in terms of kind of adding to your color palette, you know, you're not just limited to the number of pencils that you have, because layering and, you know, definitely kind of getting creative with your color combos just really opens up your ability to expand your color palettes. So if you don't keep a little scrap of paper, and I didn't even do it this time, but if you don't keep a little scrap of paper by your coloring, just to kind of try out some of those color combos and maybe get a little bit creative before committing to actually putting it on your paper, definitely good to do. All right, let's venture onto the other side of the page now, and I think I'm really liking these kind of red tones, and I definitely like where I put them up here in the mushrooms, so I think I'm going to try to move that over, and I think we're going to try to do the owl in a little bit of that red. I don't know if I'm crazy or not. He's awfully big. I think I might do him in a variety of colors, kind of like we're doing on the other ones, but I'm going to start with the red and just kind of see what speaks to me. This might surprise you, but I don't always have a plan. In fact, I very rarely have a plan. I usually have some kind of idea, or like the main kind of themes. I have a little bit of an idea of what I want to do, but when it comes to kind of all the little details, or maybe the way that a complete color palette's going to shake out, I very, very rarely know exactly what that's going to be. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. But the nice thing about coloring is that you can kind of go back in and fix it if it's not quite what you were going for. Or you just do another page. I'm making this poor owl look like a parrot. We'll have to kind of tone him down a little bit. I do like the color combo. I'm just liking the kind of more natural look of some of the other animals over here. So I don't want to go too crazy. I think we can definitely get a little bit adventurous in some of the mushrooms and some of the plant life and stuff. But I don't want to go too earthy, realistic with the other animals and then get a little bit too whimsical with some of the other animals. There we go. Yeah, I'm just going to tone this down just a little bit. With a little, just soft layer of my red violet. A little bit of a darker layer on the bottom there, and then just a soft little cover over the top. All right, maybe just a little bit of this Van Dyke brown. I kind of want to see what it does to our outside feathers. Again, I like this red and kind of purple combo. I think it's really pretty. But in terms of it kind of fitting in with the overall color scheme, it's not bad. But especially when you just kind of take a step back and look. And I think as we color other things, it'll be okay. I don't know, to me it's just kind of standing out a little bit right now, more than I had anticipated or kind of intended it to be. I think we've tortured this poor bird enough. Blend in. I don't know, what do you guys think? Do you think he stands out a little bit too much? We'll have to see. All right, I think I want to bring in a little bit of purple, and I'm just going to be using the red violet that we've already been using in some of our spots, but I'm going to couple that with my dark indigo. And I did a little test spot in the corner here just to see if it would kind of work with everything else, and if it didn't, you know, probably not a big deal. It's just down here in the corner, but I like it. I think that kind of these combos make it read a little bit more purple than some of the kind of standard purples that we have in our box. So if you don't like your standard box pencils, make your own. So what I'm going to be doing, I'm just going to be taking some of these little puff balls, it's the official term, and giving them one coverage coat of our red violet, and then I'll go back in with the dark indigo and just going to sort of cover the area around where the kind of little hash lines are. And you see that combo just creates a really, really nice deep purple, one that we didn't have a pencil for. And then I'll go back in with red violet, and I'm just going to go over all those areas again to just sort of complete the coverage. And we have a nice little blueberry kind of purpley color. It was a really, really nice addition with some of our other colors here. All right, this page is completely done. I just sort of went like systematically and was like, I'm going to finish everything in this little section. I'm going to finish everything in this little section. And I just went around and did that on this entire page. And so now I just have to do that over here. And as you can see, I still have quite a bit, but I feel finally like I'm in the home stretch. Okay, oh my god, I think I'm done. This took like 3 days. 3 days, and there were definitely some moments where I was in the weeds, like doing the detail and having fun, putting in shadows and stuff, and then there were moments where I'm like, just get it colored, it's fine. So don't look too closely. There are definitely iterances of both here. Now, do I do a background? The age-old question. I think a background might kill me, but then again, I think not doing a background would also kill me. Oh my god, what to do? So in last week's video, I was kind of going back and forth between the orange and the blue, and I ended up going with orange. And because I haven't put any blue on here pretty much, except for kind of to aid in some of the purple bits here, I think I might do blue here. And I'm just going to do something super, super simple, really, really easy. I think I might even get out my pastels to do it. We'll see if that's maybe a good option here. Hang on, let me go get them. All right, I got out my soft pastels, and I don't have a ton of blues in this set, but I'm kind of drawn to this one, maybe this powdery blue. I'm a little afraid to kind of go a little bit bold here just because I don't want it to be too much, but maybe we'll just kind of put down a combo of these two and we'll kind of see how that works out. And I'm just going to do it with a cotton swab. All right, so we have put down this kind of cloudy blue. And I'm kind of deciding if I even need another color. I kind of like how splotchy it is. It kind of mimics the impression of clouds. So I'm kind of wondering if I even need to do anything. What I might do is maybe just take this kind of brighter blue and just maybe do like a little tiny test in maybe one of these little areas down here at the bottom. Just kind of see if it actually does anything that I want to incorporate? Maybe. Maybe? Is that an answer? Well, it seems like I'm kind of doing it, so let's just say that that is the answer. And I'm just going to add just a little bit of this kind of brighter blue here. And I'm kind of thinking like maybe I'll just do it on kind of this bottom third, just so it's not so kind of one note everywhere. I like that. So here's our semi-completed page, and anybody know what's left to do? There's still one super important thing left to do, and that is to fill out the name. And because I used soft pastel, this can still kind of come up and transfer and get messy and get in places where you don't want it. I'm just going to spray real quick, just like a nice little layer of this workable fixative on top. It'll keep everything nice and in its place, and all of that powder won't migrate. So thank you guys so much for watching. I really, really appreciate it. I know that this one took quite a bit of time. And at certain times, I really like that. Sometimes it's very rewarding. Sometimes it's very fun to get into the detail work. And sometimes it can get a little bit tedious. And I'll tell you, I ran the gamut from start to finish on this page. But I'm really, really happy with it. I think it sets a good tone for kind of the whimsical kind of tone in this book, and I'm very, very happy with it. So if you like this video, please go ahead and hit the thumbs up. I really appreciate it. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. I'm going to be doing videos every single week through the end of the year at the very, very least. I have kind of my content all kind of planned out, so there'll be some exciting stuff coming here pretty soon. So subscribe if you're new and want more content. And as always, leave me a comment down below. I love hearing from you guys. You guys are so, so nice. And if there's anything in particular that you want to know or that you want me to demonstrate, go ahead and leave that down there for me as well. So thanks again, guys. I really appreciate it. Good luck with your coloring, and I will see you next time. Bye!